Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Monday, March 18th. We're going to take a look at ACB today. So with the recent news catalysts coming into play, we've seen ACB jump over 10% on Friday and then another 16+% today. So question is, of course, if it does want to continue trucking and the signals stay bullish and people are feeling good about it, what are some resistance levels that we might come into contact with? And then, of course, if things start to maybe just kind of drag on for a long time, there's just sort of nothing happening, or that, what's being called for just falls apart and it's basically found out that it's not going to happen, what are some support levels that might come in if it does sort of retrace a bunch of these gains that it's made lately? Now, let's start with that because it's the shorter portion. Finishing the day at about 370, wicking off of this 380 level. Now, if it comes down, the strongest support level that I would see is 340 and then 322. And then there's, of course, some levels below here. You'll see probably one here around 303. And then again, I'd put this actually at about 290. I'm going to leave those off the chart for now just to not clutter it too much. But if it gets down there and folks want, leave me a comment. We can come take another look at it. If it does, if all signs are pointing bulls and people are wanting to kind of pile in and keep driving the stock price up, like we said, it's got to overcome that 380. That's the first level in, and then 410, 440, 490, and 530. I don't know if we have, nope, that's as far up as I went, but that's pretty darn far. Now, the reason I said that the 340 level is the nearest in support level that I feel is strong is just because we have really thin price action in between 380 and 340, and so there's not a lot to go off of. So may something develop in between here? Sure, could happen. That would mean, though, that the stock is going to move relatively sideways in this range for some time and develop a bunch of price action, or go through either the upside or the downside and then come back through again and create price action that way. So, if we're just going with the idea that it's either going to continue to have all the good feels and it's going to keep climbing, or the deal's going to kind of fall apart and the news is going to somehow fall apart and it's going to retrace, then that's why I kind of say that. But on the think or swim side of things, super long trigger back here. Well, it was pinned to the mid-range and then actually started a big move down, or a decent move down, before it started to fire. So by the time it started to fire, it was already down to about 413 or so. And then when it fired, it made a little bit of a fake out back to the mid-range of the channel and then pushed out the lower bound, ultimately coming in down there at 284, as you see. So still a really good call by the TTM squeeze indicator. It has second trigger and fire here as it tried to regroup near the mid-range, right on that swing up toward the mid-range. So one or two good callouts, whether or not you want to link these two or not. Now, what basically happened today was a couple of things. One, it wicked off the upper bound of the channel, right? So it's hesitancy, at least for now, to push up out of the channel. And right now, this upper bound of the channel is at 379. This channel is dynamic, so it changes and shifts as new price action gets put in. So just keep that in mind. Depending when you're watching this, it's probably going to be somewhere else. But also, this sort of consistent, at least consolidating sideways, a brief consolidation sideways, and then these hard climbs recently has continued to do a good job of killing off the bearish momentum on the histogram. But histogram still has things tilted toward the bearish momentum side of things. It's just that it's showing that they're dying down. So it'll be pretty interesting to see if it does get to the baseline on the histogram. Is it a pretty clear and consistent flip to bullish momentum on the histogram, or what does that look like? And if it's really going to continue to have these sort of really strong outsized moves and gains, then it's going to have to be able to climb and continue to push toward that upper bound in the channel, if not through it. Now, if it does sort of pull back, 303 is the lower mid-range right now, 277 is the lower bound of the channel, and then 328 is your mid-range. So that would be sort of the one to maybe keep an eye on if you're wondering, is there a shift coming? Is it losing some of this bullish momentum? Does it come back to reconfirm that level? So on and so forth. All right, folks, I hope that your week is off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.